After what felt like an all-too-short night, Helt and Park are sitting in a taxi on their way to the Beomeosa Temple on the slopes of Gumjong Mountain in the outskirts of Busan. Park is brimming with energy and curiosity about what awaits them at the temple, while Helt appears still groggy and somewhat drained.
I'm not sure if you caught the news last night. You seem to be in desperate need of your beauty sleep. I didn't hear much from you after you curled up on the sofa. Not that I'm into men, but you've got a really fit body, Mr. Mysterious.
Helt responds with a slightly irritated tone.
No, I didn't. I didn't hear what was on the news. What was so exciting?
There was a really cool show in front of the White House. Some crazy but definitely very influential woman presented the president with quite an action movie on a fog screen. Do you know the slightly paranoid billionaire in the US who is famous for having a high-security facility as his home?
Yes, I know who you mean. Get to the point.
He's no longer around. The crazy woman unleashed a cyber army on him, consisting of invincible combat robots, AI-controlled flying and crawling drones that can infiltrate and disable security systems within seconds. That was the final adventure of his wealthy life.
Helt immediately appears very alert and focused.
Tell me more about it. What else was said?
Well, look at that. You're a secret agent. I knew it.
Park smiles with a slightly mocking gesture. Helt turns his gaze out of the taxi window, taking in the colorful surroundings of the city of Busan.
That she was able to perfect the technology and turn it into such a weapon surprises me.
Park looks at Helt with a subtle grin.
Adrian Christopher Helt, secret agent of the BND, Foreign Division. I can't keep it to myself any longer.
Helt looks at Park with a serious expression.
What the hell?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we can be a bit more open with each other. Of course, only if it doesn't get you fired or thrown into some secret agent prison.
Well then, go ahead and tell me what you've got to say.
Okay, I'll take that as a kind of friendship offer. Since my youth, after hanging up my usually dazzling outfit in the wardrobe, I've turned into a computer nerd in the evenings. And by that, I don't mean gaming or playing around. For many years, I've been programming, writing pretty decent Python scripts for all sorts of things. At some point, I teamed up with a few guys who think the same way, forming a hacker group. Hey, what I'm about to say stays between us, okay? Secret for a secret.
Helt looks at him with a face that is both puzzled and amused.
You're overestimating yourself quite a bit, I think. Tell me how your story about me came to be.
Pure facts, my friend. That wasn't hard. My phone was the first thing I used back then to test my skills. Word by word, I was able to reconstruct your conversation. Everything else was easy. With the information I gathered from the call, I sent out a bot to collect every bit of available information about you on social media. That took less than a millisecond, believe me. You can't imagine what people, more or less openly, reveal about themselves online. Our secret organization uses the same technique to tap into companies that couldn't care less about nature and the environment, occasionally disrupting their production software. Okay, that's probably nothing compared to your spy stories, I'm sure.
Wow, I got involved with a real cyber criminal. But you surprise me. I think I've seriously underestimated you.
On closer inspection, it becomes clear that Park is quietly delighted by Helt's compliment, almost imperceptibly grinning to himself.
Maybe I'll come back to your skills another time. For now, you don't need to know more than you already do.
Park stretches slightly, and shortly afterward, the two arrive at the Beomeosa Temple. After the two exit the taxi at the Beomeosa Temple parking lot, Helt turns to Park and instructs him in a friendly yet firm tone.
Please stay here for a moment. I want to speak to my contact alone.
No problem, I can keep myself busy.
After about 10 minutes of walking along a gently ascending, forested path, radiating spiritual tranquility, the impressive temple comes into view, dominated by vibrant red and mint green colors. At the foot of the staircase stands Harrington, a man in his mid-50s with salt and pepper hair and a face etched with the marks of what must be a turbulent and rugged past. He is lighting a cigarette when he notices Helt. The two men exchange wary glances, their expressions filled with tense vigilance.
You know who I am?
Adrian Christopher Helt, my friend from the BND in Berlin, I presume.
That's me. Then you must be Thomas Harrington, my friend from the CIA.
Now that we've met in person, let's get straight to the point. Werner has given me enough information about you to be sure it's really you. These are tough times for people in our line of work. You can't trust anyone these days.
Is that so? That was one of the first things I had to learn after arriving in South Korea.
You must mean the meeting with Kim. Your colleagues suspect the poor guy is weighed down with concrete slabs in the Nakdong River. At least a visit by the BND field agents to his apartment a few hours ago suggested that someone had enough time before your arrival to thwart Werner's plans with you.
I've already shared my suspicion with Werner that we're dealing with a very cunning opponent. Or rather, let's say, an opponentess.
Exactly. Letitia Volkov, an oligarch from Kazakhstan, has been known to the CIA for a long time, but never played a significant role. That changed abruptly after the abduction of Jin Ho Kim. iHi Lab was set to deliver a kernel with a newly developed AI algorithm to the US for billions. The product ensures absolutely perfect and autonomous military operations using combat robots, drones, and similar military technology equipped with the kernel. We believe there were leaks at iHi Lab that brought Volkov into the picture long before the first business talks between us and the company took place. The raid and abduction must have been planned and prepared for years. The technically sophisticated execution proves that.
Held listens intently as Harrington hurriedly lights a second cigarette.
So far, we don't know exactly what she's planning or what her goals are. However, her demonstration in front of the White House and the elimination of one of the most secure billionaires in the U.S. by a small strike team of robots, drones, and electronic creeping gadgets, with virtually no difficulty, has now caught the attention of all Western intelligence agencies. What we do know for sure is that she has several highly influential contacts in many third world or emerging countries. She carefully selects countries that are barely or not at all controlled by Western states. We believe she has secretly established underground production facilities for military equipment, employing numerous locals for slightly better low wages, but under strict confidentiality agreements. Your mission, Helt, is to approach one of these contacts in Kenya and gather as much information as possible about her motives. The contact is Elijah Kiprono Keter. We know he's looking for suppliers of production machinery suitable for manufacturing hydraulic drive systems for specialized humanoid robots. Werner's agents on the ground, disguised as field employees of a company, have made him an extremely lucrative offer he can't refuse. You, Helt, have already been introduced to him as the company's key account manager, and he's eager to welcome you. The meeting is scheduled for the day after tomorrow at 2 p.m. Kenyan time. Werner has already booked your flight to Nairobi. You'll be staying at the Hemingway's Nairobi.
Held responds relatively calmly to the new plans, replying with a cheeky tone.
Please let C know that I might need another room there. I have someone with me who might be able to assist with electronic information gathering. He doesn't know about his luck yet, but maybe it can all be arranged more smoothly if C doesn't book him a third-rate Airbnb apartment, and instead lets him stay at the Hemingways as well.
Here, take this phone. Everything you need for your trip and accommodation will be transmitted electronically through it. You'll see from the documents whether C agrees with your plans. You can also communicate securely with him through this device. It's been thoroughly checked. Oh, and C mentioned that you'll have a contact in Nairobi who will hand over your service weapon. C said you'll probably need it in a hostile environment full of bloodthirsty hornets.
Harrington raises his index finger in the air as a parting gesture.
Take care of yourself and distinguish between friend and foe. The CIA has also sent their people.
Harrington ascends the stairs to the temple and eventually disappears into the temple building. Suddenly, Park appears behind Helt and smiles at him.
Kenya, I'm curious to get to know the country. When are we flying?
Held, raising an eyebrow slightly.
Normally I'd tell you to get lost, you little wannabe spy. But I might actually have a use for your cyber tech expertise. How about a luxury apartment in Nairobi for a few days?
At your service, sir.
In a dimly lit room with no windows, A metal table occupies the center, surrounded by sparse, uncomfortable chairs. A Jordanian businessman, Omar Al-Hazimi, sits at the table with four men in white suits who appear to be of Eastern European descent. Their stern expressions leave little room for friendliness. One of the men has a notepad in front of him, ready to take notes, while the others fix their intense gazes on Al-Hazimi. Known for his confidence and commanding presence, Al-Hazimi seems slightly unsettled in this setting, though he does his best to mask his unease. At the head of the table stands a large black screen, currently inactive. Sitting directly opposite Al-Hazimi is a man who seems to be the leader. Speaking in a calm, yet authoritative tone, with a deep voice that commands respect, he begins the conversation with Al-Hazimi.
My name is Dmitry Korovin. I am the advisor to Ms. Volkov, who will be joining us online shortly. Let's get to the point. None of us have time to waste. You are here because you can provide us with a logistical platform in Jordan. Through the infrastructure you've established in your country, we are able to quickly transport the materials needed to achieve our goals to the target countries we've selected in the Middle East.
Al-Hazimi responds hesitantly.
You can utilize my well-connected corporate and warehouse infrastructure. I will not ask about your objectives as long as they do not harm my country or the interests of our state.
Ms. Volkov does not concern herself with the interests of any state. You will be more than generously compensated and are here to make a decision right now. Let me also mention that it is a significant risk to disappoint Ms. Volkov. She has the power to effortlessly remove someone in your position from the blueprint, if you understand what I mean. You are replaceable.
Al-Hazimi appears increasingly nervous.
No, it's quite all right. Your compensation for my services is truly more than generous. I will accept your assignment.
Korovin silently stares at him, then shifts his gaze to the monitor at the end of the table, which flickers to life. On the screen appears Letitia Volkov.
Good evening, Mr. Al-Hazimi. I have followed the conversation and have nothing further to add, except...
She remains silent for a few moments, exuding calm, before continuing in a cold, measured voice.
Should we have even the slightest doubt about your loyalty, we will eliminate you without hesitation and make an example of you. I trust you understand your position in the hierarchy and my power to shape things as I see fit.
Yes, I am aware of that.
Good. Dmitry, please hand our new partner, Mr. Al-Hazimi, the USB stick with the detailed instructions and escort him to his plane.
Korovin approaches Al-Hazimi, who has already risen from the table, places a firm hand on his shoulder with a commanding expression, and guides the unsettled man to the door like a parent leading a small child. After Al-Hazimi exits, Korovin returns to the center of the room and positions himself in front of the monitor. Volkov's face almost seems to soften into a faint semblance of friendliness as she gazes at her closest confidant.
Dmitry, I am very pleased with our choice of contact in Jordan. Do not disappoint me and remain vigilant. While we are still in the development phase, we cannot afford any mistakes.
Korovin nods slightly in agreement, smiles at Volkov, and leaves the room alongside the other three men. The monitor flickers off.